recognize our Eagle Scouts. We'll go back to the manager's report. We're good. Okay.
Donations?
I'm just going to call our select board meeting of Monday, March 16th to order. I'm joined by Vice Chair Anthea Brady and members Gil McGonigal, Paris Bayani, Mike Betancourt, Town Manager Chris Senior, and our clerk Patty Mihalik. So yes, please, let's jump into donations.
Move that we accept with gratitude an EEC stabilization grant of $13,720 for the Recreation Department Kid Connection Wrap EEC childcare license for the month of March 2026.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move that we accept with gratitude an MHC survey and planning grant from the Massachusetts Historical Commission to the Planning Department and the Historical Commission to do a comprehensive Winchester West Side survey.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. So we're going to skip the town manager's report and come up and to go to public comment. Is anyone not related to the Eagle Scouts here for public comment? If so, raise your hand. All right. So now I'd like to invite Isabella, Madison, Renee to the table.
Thank you.
I had the pleasure of attending the Eagle Scout Court of Honor on my birthday, as it turned out.
Oh my gosh,
on March
happy
7th.
belated birthday.
So, and I'd never been to one, which was rather remarkable. Winchester's had Troop 570 for 95 years. These are the first young women to reach Eagle Scout. They're the 131st, 132nd, 135th. You're not quite seated the correct way in the troop's history. So that's pretty remarkable. Years of commitment, and we have some proclamations for you. But we wanted you to talk about each of your projects. I know Renee worked on the Fast Forest. Madison was recognizing our veterans, and Isabella was doing some support with the Crawford Memorial
Yeah.
Church. A nice job in the musical. I saw.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Oh my gosh, so much fun.
So I don't know who wants to go first.
I can start, yeah.
Okay.
So I renovated one of the old storage rooms at Crawford Memorial Methodist United Church. And basically what I did is I took all the things in there currently. That's the room they use for like their big holiday masses. So mostly like their big Christmas mass. So I took all the supplies out. The room was not in the best condition. So I repainted the room. I cleaned the room, repainted the room, and then I built shelving, and then I reorganized the room for them.
And they are most appreciative. I heard
Yes.
that during the ceremony.
It was nice to give back to the place that lets us hold our meetings.
It's
Yeah.
kind of your home.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
I worked in the Wildwood Cemetery, and my project went through and surveyed all of the graves that were in there. We looked at them and got the information on them that had the date of birth, date of death, war served, branch, position, any awards received, and we took all those veteran information and put it into a spreadsheet that is now used to locate the veterans, because I also organized them into different zones, so you can look up their name and then find the general area of where they are.
For my project, I worked with Grow Local in Winchester. I worked with Presetta Kalabi, and we planted the Fast Forest in our town. And this project included 1,100 native shrubs and plants, and we reforested an area at Wrightlock Farm. So this project really took like so many months of preparation. Like I know I joined after like Grow Local had already been working on it, and I like worked to help mobilize volunteers, since with that many plants we needed a ton of volunteers. And I believe on planting day we had around over 200 volunteers come out, and it's really remarkable to see like the journey this plot of land took from being like first tilling the soil, or well actually before tilling, there's so many steps before that. But getting to the point where we were getting kids from like AP environmental science classes at school to come out and help lay out the forest, and then ultimately planting it in 2024.
And they grew really fast, which is
Yeah,
hence
and like
the name.
now you come back like a year later, we celebrated its first birthday. And it's amazing to see the growth the plants have. Like some of them are over my head, and it's crazy.
I hope, Isabella, they keep the room clean for you. I'm like,
Yeah.
have satisfaction for years to come. You just don't want to open
Yeah.
that door,
and,
maybe.
and I went back to Renee's project actually because then my AP Environmental Science class went back and then we like labeled all the plants and shrubs for a field trip. It was
Nice.
fun, yeah.
So I want to just give the board a chance to maybe share their congratulations. We do have some proclamations for you, but if anybody else wants to say anything, I certainly appreciated being there in person. It was a great ceremony. I'll turn the
Thank you.
floor over to whomever.
Yeah, I'll just say thank you so much for your service to the community. And many people don't know how much work goes into being an Eagle Scout, how many years, how much you have to do. And the badges that you have are an indication of how much your effort has improved the community. And so thank you so much. It's really an honor for us to be here and to celebrate you. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to congratulate the three of you. It's a really incredible achievement, and you've done a wonderful job, and you've done a great job explaining what you've done and how that has sort of benefited the community. And I think it's also really impressive because Michelle and I know we did not have an opportunity to do something like that, so I think it's also really great that you are the first 3 female Eagle Scouts in the town.
Thank you.
It's amazing what you've done. I was a scout. It was a great experience for me. I did not have the tenacity to make it all the way to Eagle Scout, so you are better than me.
You're not, are you?
Please continue to do that. What's that? Yes, not high bar. Please keep at it. Everyone I know who's an Eagle Scout has learned so much and carried those lessons throughout their lives and really brought so much, good and inspiration to those around them. So please do that. Maybe run for select board next year. And again, you're better than me. But yeah, this town is great because of people like you, and you set a real high bar for all of us to follow. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
You would literally be running against him if you ran next year.
Yeah. Or maybe I would just give up. So.
You are old enough to run for town office, probably now. But I don't have much more to add to all my colleagues. But congratulations
Thank
to
you.
the three of you. I really appreciate all of your service.
So I'm going to read the actual citation, and then
Okay.
we're going to hand them off to you. So, be it hereby known to all of the members of the Select Board, hereby offer the most sincere congratulations to Isabella Bogovich, Renee Lubomirsky, and Madison Von Mary, in recognition of her induction into the rank of Eagle Scout, Scouting America. The entire Select Board extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors, given the 16th day of March, 2026 in Winchester, Massachusetts. So congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to get these right.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Madison and Renee. And Patty, can we get a picture with them? The whole board together.
Yes.
Picture. We can see.
Okay.
And how about how about the 3 of them, and then we'll get in behind them, okay?
Okay.
We'll get Wendy.
Okay.
Right. Sorry, but you are in it. Okay.
All right.
Then I guess you want to do it over here, over there? Or?
already there.
They're already here, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Ours go behind all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Are we good?
So I'm a balancer.
Okay.
Mike,
I can also-
no, you're fine. Pass over. Okay, and then,
How about, do I go here? Can I go between the 2?
there you go.
Yeah.
Want their parents after this one?
No? Really?
Who said that?
In between blinks, so I kept.
We're good?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming in tonight. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for making the time. Good night.
You can push my report for that anytime.
I will. Any of us will. Remember that, board. Chris's report can always wait for scouts. So go ahead, Chris, if you want to give your manager's report, and we'll go through the rest of our agenda.
Okay. First, the staff appointment. Annette Flaherty is joining the Council on Aging staff as a senior clerk. I met with Annette last week. She's a longtime resident. Her kids have gone through the school system. She's long been active and wanted to just continue. She has a little more time with her kids being a little bit older. So she's over at the Jenks filling an important spot. So I believe this is the first time I have to ask you for this. We have the 15-day period to...
Move that we waive the 15-day waiting period to appoint Annette Flaherty as the Council on Aging senior clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. A couple other things. First, the town is the recipient of 2 Green Communities grants totaling about $90,000. The first one goes to the ongoing replacement of the windows at the Mystic School. If anybody's been up there and seen the beautiful work that's already been done, this will be a continuation of that. Totally open up a couple of the other classrooms. It's going to be fantastic. That's about $48,000. And then there's $42,000 for LED lighting at McCall Middle School, which will help with the ongoing energy efficiency up there. So we're very excited about those. I'm hoping those will happen at some point in the next few months. We have to get the contract in place and all that. But that'll come back, but I'm told I can't ask you to approve that. Yes, I have to go through a more formal process. So you'll see that next meeting to vote to accept those grants. And then I actually got to tour the Waterview site a couple of weeks ago, a Waterfield site, and what's happening now, so everyone is aware, the lot will be closed this Thursday and Friday. What's happening is developers doing GPR and grow probe activities. So what they're doing is they're just doing a survey. They're not digging anything, but they're doing an underground survey to see what's on the site to make sure they know where everything is. So that to do that, they need to have the lot clear. So Thursday and Friday, the lot will be. There's already signs up there. We've asked the planning department to go out there and flyer so people can see that, let the local businesses know. So if you're parking in the Waterfield lot like I was today, I actually went to D'Agostino's for the first time today, so I was very excited about that. But do not park in that lot, please, Thursday or Friday. It needs to be open. Then it'll be back. And then at this point, there's ongoing conversations. There's still, I think, ongoing approvals that have to happen, but the hope is that with everything dotted and tied, that potentially this project would start sometime in the fall, but there's still a lot of lead time for that, a lot of conversation to be had how that will impact everything downtown, but that's the update on that. So.
Okay.
And the last one, 2 of the flashing crosswalks have now been reinstalled, one up on Highland,
Highland and Walcott is in,
and then right by the Mystic School. So
and the third one is up as well.
Oh, did we get a third one up? Did we get a third one up?
On Johnson
Cox and Johnson, it's up.
is up. I don't know if it's flashing, but it is installed.
Been up for a while.
Yeah, Bob's here.
All right.
Wow, am I not paying attention?
Yeah.
I
So we have
drove-
3. So
drove
there we
past
go.
it.
So
Right here.
Been up so long, I got a call today that's not working. So, I guess
Thank you, Bob and Anthea, for that clarification.
Yeah.
so that's my update.
I've already had a lot of families very appreciative for the one at the Mystic School.
So
It's so
I appreciate Bob and his team's work to get that finally done. So the winter did delay things more than we wanted, and there was a part missing, and so but it all got done. So
Okay. Any other questions for Chris? All right. So we will go through our business agenda. We have 2 appointments tonight, 1 interview and new applicant, and 1 reappointment. So if we could have Wendy Swanton come to the table, we will do the Design Review Committee interview. And good evening, Wendy. We have your application, we have your statement of interest. You are applying for the Design Review Committee, and maybe you could talk a bit about why you wish to join, some of your experience, what you hope to add to that committee. Just tell us things we may not know from what you've already written, or what your interest is.
Well, okay. As I said, in what I've written, we've been in town for about 30 years. And it's an important 30 years in city, in town, development as things go economically one way or the other, and then modernizing, not modernizing. And I think it's important to pay attention to keeping a town at its most beautiful level, and not, appreciate where it came from and what the rest of the people that live here see it as. And I think the design review process is really important for that, because you're going to hopefully have different viewpoints and different talents in a design review that will look at it architecturally and artistically and landscape and all sorts of things. And Winchester, we've always loved Winchester, and we loved restoring our house on Church Street. It was it was a house that was in such bad repair that I didn't know until after we bought it that it had a front porch, because the shrubs had grown up 3 stories high and kind of grown over it, and I had not paid any attention. I just had a portico, went in and out of the portico, and it was that kind of thing. No railings. It had a lot of damage and everything, and it was an experience for me and my husband in how to not only restore the house but keep it in with the neighborhood. There were big houses on either side of us, and they weren't necessarily the same style, the same period, but we looked at our house and our history of our house. We did a lot of research on the history of our house, and then we made it a home for us and made all those decisions that towns have to make. Are you going to have a modern this and a modern that, or are you going to go buy it to the salvage yard and get one of these? And so I really think I have an appreciation for trying to keep the environment of Winchester within its history, I guess is what I'm saying. But being aware of the changes that you have to make and the values you have to consider in that process. And so that's what interests me. And so when I saw that this was, open, I thought, well, I've already been in town meeting, and I've already been in a historical society board and all these sorts of things. And I'm kind of trying to leave big boards behind. And this seemed to be maybe a good spot for me to work with the town, and yet, sort of have the freedom to do some other things too.
Great.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Any questions for Wendy?
Okay, I have a question fully related to your background.
Okay.
You used to live in Arlington? Yes?
Used to live in Arlington, yes. Got married and moved into a bottom floor of a 2-family.
Did you work at all with the Dallin Museum? Or did it exist while you were in Arlington? I guess would be the right question.
I did not. I did a lot of work with Arlington Historical Society. I was on their board for a number of years, and I worked with another person on the board trying to sort out the collection and catalog and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I was also on the conservation board. Mm-hmm. And I was studying historic preservation management when I was in Arlington. So I was, I had to do a project. And so I went over to the old Schwa Mill. I don't know if you're familiar with the old Schwa Mill. When Pat Fitzmaurice was there, and said, "What can I do?" And she said, "We need money." And so I took up grant writing, and that's when I started doing a lot of grant writing there. And I was a trustee for like 25, 30 years, and on their board and things like that. So I never really got to the Dallin Museum because I didn't really go to grad school and get my grad school degree and start to work in museum management until later.
It was just interesting because like I know they moved the house right down the middle of Mass Ave and kind of fits
Yeah.
within the
Yeah.
preservation
Yeah.
background. So just curious.
Okay.
I don't have a question, but just a comment or two, because I started my involvement with the zoning board here. So first, I won't tell you how to do it, but please just always remember that you have to balance the interests of the town and the neighborhood and historic preservation and all of that with the fact that you're so often dealing with people's homes that they just are trying to upgrade and beautify. And
Honestly, 25 years we lived in our house, and, you know, it was in a way the same kind of balance, and it's hard to do, because if you're working with other families, other people, other neighborhoods, you can't just go in and do it. You have to kind of be there and talk to them and walk around and look at what people are doing at their houses, you know, who's adding, who's not adding, how they, you know, who's growing, who's got 1 million kids, who doesn't have 1 million. I mean, it's important to know those things before you make any decisions. So I agree with you completely. That's just part of, it works that way with all kinds of social interaction and history and historic preservation is right up there with that.
good. So we are through this process now, making you one of the experts on design. So when you come and write your opinions, please make them clear, because the zoning board appointees are not design experts.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure that they know that you've done a good review and things
Yeah,
got your
yeah.
sign off.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Makes total
It
sense.
makes things a lot easier at the ZBA when you guys have really good opinions.
Well, that's good to know. Good to know.
Paris, Mike?
Just want to say thank you for volunteering. It's great for the community to have somebody with your background having an eye on design review, and as you said, and Bill asserted as well, you know, finding that balance of you know, preservation, and so thank you so much for your willingness to volunteer. Appreciate it, Wendy. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it.
So for the boards, oh, go ahead.
Does the design review committee's purview only, in your view, affect the outside of homes or built structures, or the inside as well?
I think that the homeowner is really the person that is responsible for the interior of their home, as long as it's not going to affect town systems, you know, like if they wanted to dig up and put in a big built-in swimming pool and fill it with water, you know, I mean, there's a lot of things that can be discussed. But I think the town, I would think, would be more concerned with maybe if you had something that you thought was going to happen that was just going to be outrageous, talking to the homeowner, maybe saying, oh, you know, we just wondered, you know, where you're coming from, and is there anything, you know, that you think the town should be doing, or is there a reason you're doing this? Is there an alternative? But really, once a person's purchased their home on their land, I don't think you can do anything about the interior of their house, and you can't really do anything of the exterior of their house unless you have a, you know, it's a historic neighborhood. It's been designated as something that has rules and regulations and things that say, no, you know, you can't do this and you can't do that. And that's really hard to do.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the board's benefit, we have 2 appointments. The select board does. Planning board has 3. Moderator has a couple. This term expired in December of 2025. Wendy applied within the timeframes. So we're a little bit late to getting it on our calendar, but the term you would serve out through December of 2028. So we didn't get you in here in January, but it was posted, notice for the appropriate length of time, and Wendy had applied, so this is where we're able to get you in.
January 20.
Okay. So it would be not quite 3 years, but the term would expire at the end of the year. Because Patty, am I right that these design review all expire December 31?
Yes,
At least the select board versions of them?
yes.
Okay,
Okay,
fair enough. Okay,
great.
take a motion.
Move that we appoint Wendy Swanton to the Design Review Committee for the term to expire December 31st, 2028.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Great.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
your
you very
willingness to
much.
join.
Thanks,
What do
Wendy.
you know offhand about the appointees?
Patty, who is our other appointee to design review? Select boards, do you know?
Yeah, actually, I opened it up just if
pull
you
that right
guys want to actually know. The charter for the design review committee is to provide design review services and reviews and advises on site improvements, visual design, and facade changes. So it's within the town, so there is no inside the house that they make decisions on.
That's certainly the way the bylaws are.
Yeah, yeah. You would ask the question. I wasn't sure whether you were.
The reason I asked the question.
Okay.
There was.
And so
I know what
two
you're
are by
supposed
the
to
select board,
do.
two are by the town moderator, and three are by the planning board.
So who's our other person right now? Do you know? Of those?
Julie,
Julie.
well, no, Aiden.
LaBeouf.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah. Adrian. Right, or, I don't know, LaBeouf.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next up is our WinCam board position. We have an incumbent looking to be reappointed to a third term, it looks like, Patty? Has
Yes,
served 2 terms.
yes,
No one else has applied,
no.
and we did not ask Peter to come in. Okay.
I did not get a chance to reach out to him if anyone wants, in a timely manner, to get an application from him.
Does it matter if we have his application?
I mean, Bill knows him.
I'll just abstain.
Okay.
Move that we reappoint Peter Pongratz to the Winchester Community Access and Media for the term to expire November 30th, 2028.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you. Okay, next up, if our treasurer could join us, we're going to talk about bonds and back taxes. I mean, how exciting. And then water rates. I mean, it's the greatest hits this evening.
Best meeting ever.
All right. Warrant articles to follow. Ooh. So please, Anne, if you could, I know we have some paperwork to sign.
Yes, lots of signing tonight for you.
But first, we'll take up the bonds and we'll take up back taxes.
Okay, sure. So I just have a brief summary on what you'll be signing off on later. So we have band Series A, which is our taxable band. This is the $4,050,000 band for the Washington Swanton streets. That's renewing. The next band is $17,934,517. Did I say that right? I think so. That includes the Morocco Culvert, Lynch Elementary School construction, and Cambridge Street Water Project. I'm sorry, I'm not giving you rates. Do you want the rates on these? What they, was that a yes?
Are there any bonds or just all bands?
There's 2 bands and then a bond.
On the bond, yes.
On the bond, okay. So the bond is $9,740,000. The net interest cost is 3.713. The coupon rate was 4.25. This is for Lynch Elementary School and Arbor Lane, Wendell Street pumping station.
That's like a water and sewer, chapter 110.
Yeah, the Arbor Lane, Wendell, yes, yep. And so I ask you all for your John Hancock later tonight.
This is just a broader question. When is the ZBA going to finish the comp permit on Washington and Swanton?
I don't have
It's certainly not a question for Ann.
Not a question for Ann, it's a question for the board.
They're having a hearing on it Thursday night. I think we expect it to be done soon. This ban extends through July. So this is an extension that we're hoping would have been closed in March, and we would have just paid our last ban. Now we're extending it for another 3 to 4 months, hoping that we can get to closure by the end of July.
Can I ask why? So the ZBA on February 26th said we could use the next 40 days or up to 40 days to deliberate. There's an economic cost here to keeping the ban rolling, right, for another 3 months. Are they aware of that? I mean, this isn't a treasurer question.
Okay,
I hear you.
Yes, they are aware of that.
And they've taken the view that it doesn't matter, that the town's eating the interest expense?
They are taking the view that they want to take the time and due diligence that they've taken. So Mark and I, months ago, thought that just reading the tea leaves, we should extend it to be safe and not have anything expire if anything got in the way of closing. And we weren't able to clear the debt for ourselves.
What is the interest expense for a quarter? Is it $50,000?
For which?
For the Washington Swan
I don't
ban?
have that number in front of me. I just have the basic numbers. I can get that to you later on if you're interested.
I think the project evolved a lot as well, and so I think that the ZBA wanted to, as Michelle said, make sure that the right outcome was pursued, as well as some of our policy objectives, the select board's policy objectives that we wanted to make sure was enforced through the ZBA.
Right, but the original schedule was to close out the comp permit before Christmas.
Yeah.
And now they're talking about on February 26th taking 40 more days, and apparently have no concern about the economic consequences of that.
I think they did have concern. I think that they felt, I won't
Well,
speak
then
for the ZBA.
where are they?
Yeah.
When the ban is here, where are they discussing that with us?
It didn't come up in a formal way from the ZBA. We've been working with them on use of the space. We've been clarifying terms of the LDA. Our town council is reaching out to their town council on deadlines and dates. But I can't say that we've specifically asked the ZBA to speed it up. I think some of these things have just taken their time. I certainly can't circle back. But this was a conservative approach to extend it so we didn't run out of ban runway.
I appreciate why we need to do this financially. I don't understand how after how long has the comp permit hearing been going on? 8 months? That they're going to take another 40 days to deliberate and burn interest expense in the meantime.
I think part of it is, and Bill can share this with you as well. I mean, with the ZBA, it's important to align everyone's schedule there, so the people that are reviewing the application are the people that have sat there before, and so I think some of that's been scheduled.
We convened on a regular 48-hour notice for how many weeks to get our work done.
Yeah, I think it's different though, but
Okay.
because one of us doesn't necessarily have to be there in order for
All of us were there.
the process to move forward. But I think it's certain members that were sitting, in review of that project. They need to get them all there at the same time, and they're volunteers, right?
So are we. There's only 3 of them that are needed,
Yeah.
and all 5 of us were showing up. I'm. You can tell from the tenor of my questions, I'm sort of at a loss for the nature of the zoning board's comprehensive permit approach here. I'll vote for the extension, but I'm going to do so with a lot of reservations about the way the zoning board of appeals has approached this.
Sure. From my own personal perspective, Powers, part of it is, like Mike says, there are scheduling issues that involve not just the board members, but also third parties. And once you convene a 40B review process, you have to have the same 3 people there all the time. I think that's a problem with our ZBA. I think that the way that we have regulars and alternates is unduly limiting and causes a lot of slowdown. I think there are solutions for that, and I'd love to explore them going forward so we don't see these problems happening again.
Yeah, we should talk about that with the ZBA. I mean, that's a good action item. I mean, it doesn't involve
Yeah.
Ann at this point. We need to vote this and move it forward, get Ann out of here. But,
Yeah.
it
We
probably
can-
is a
we
good
can
action
vote-
item.
We can vote, or we can tell Ann that I don't have any more questions for Ann. I don't know if others do, but this isn't a treasure item at all. This is, though, a comment of, we could use the next
Time
40
costs
days
money.
to deliberate. Time costs money. Residents are asking the question. The comp permit hearing was supposed to conclude at Christmas. It's currently March 16th. When is this getting done? It's that simple. And if the Zoning Board of Appeals needed more time, they should have come here and talked to us about it.
Okay. Do we need to vote these individually? Each of the
No,
bans?
I think what we've been.
I know we have
doing
to sign them
No, I have the
individually.
motion.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's doing just the opening and the last paragraph is what you said is okay? 'Cause
Yes.
She doesn't have to read the whole thing.
No, she doesn't
And
have to read the whole
then
thing.
she makes
So
the
I have to
motion
read
of
this
the,
part?
yep, and
Okay.
then the motion there.
I, the clerk of the Select Board of the Town of Winchester, Massachusetts, the town, certify that at a meeting of the board, Ben Affleck would beg to differ. Certify that a meeting of the board held March 16th, 2026, of which meeting all members of the board were duly notified and at which a quorum was present. The following votes were unanimously passed, all of which appear on the official record of the board in my custody. Move that the Select Board approve the votes as described in the certificate prepared by bond counsel and provided to the Select Board for approval.
Second.
Any additional deliberation, debate? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you. We can follow up with the ZBA. I think that's a reasonable question. And the next item is, we have it at table. There are some back taxes on
Yes.
that same parcel,
Yes, so
and then on Waterfield Road as well.
this is something I've brought forward a few times over the last, I don't know, year and a half. So there's two things going on here. The first is the Washington Swanton properties. So when those were taken by the town, or not taken, but purchased by the town, there was still taxes due on the property, and those were never taken care of. So they've been sitting there, they've been accruing interest, and they really need to be paid. So I'm here to just ask if you will help with that. The second is Waterfield Road. So this it was originally Pan Am Railway back in 2019. Subsequently, MBTA. At the time, no one was paying the taxes, the property was liened, then the town is now the owner of that parcel. There's a release deed. What I have in my notes here is a release deed was recorded at the Registry of Deeds on 1/2/2024, granting and releasing the parcels to the town of Winchester. Unfortunately, there's still outstanding taxes now on that parcel, and it has a lien against it. So I also asked the board if they would help to clear up the costs on that. The total, and this is through March 31st, would be $42,052.48.
And the plan is the Select Board Housing Fund to pay this, and it goes into the general fund for the town,
Yes,
and the taxes are cleared, and you don't charge us any more interest.
correct. Yes.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Did we pay for that parcel of Waterfield from the T, or was that in exchange?
The information that I have says it was released and granted.
I remember there was an extended negotiation
A
over that
release
parcel.
deed was recorded at the Registry of Deeds. I know a while back I had sent, and I'm not putting you on the spot at all, but I had sent an email to you and Mark with backup documents. In fact, I sent them to you this week too, but I did not print them out for tonight.
No, they didn't get that in the packet,
Okay,
but I can easily produce
okay.
But specifically, if it was sold and the deed was transferred,
So let's see, the owner was issued response ultimately. It was leaned while it was under Pan Am Railways. And then a release deed was recorded. As to whether there was any financial exchange, I don't know at the time if that was the case.
How recent was that transaction?
1/2/2024.
We may have had a warrant article on for that or something as well, but it took us a couple years to negotiate that release of that parcel. It was maybe even longer, so.
If something is here about it, and I'm trying to remember what.
I don't have any. The only thing I was able to obtain was just the release from the registry of deeds. That was it.
What did we do at the time with that? Because would we have?
Not pay the taxes then?
I thought we did pay taxes on. We paid taxes on something at some point.
We paid it for 160 Forest.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have a meeting on March 30th. Not that we necessarily want to drag back Ann, but if we think there's more information on this Waterfield piece, we could pay it on the 30th and not accrue any more interest through the 31st from the treasurer. Do people want to wait and take it back up in 2 weeks, or do we know what the questions are?
I mean, we can just, vote to approve it subject to, management reviewing if the
Taxes were paid?
If the taxes were paid, right? That's your question, Anthea, if we're paying
Yeah,
twice.
that's my question, because if I know that negotiation took a long time.
Yep.
And I recall that, there might have been something in there, so.
Okay, so do you want, we could approve it conditioned to that, because you're right, if it was January, it probably was a fall town meeting type action that would align, right? with November.
Yeah.
So the parcel does still show outstanding. It has an outstanding balance as far as the town's records are concerned. But do you think it was just never made it? I'm not really sure.
I just remember that this was such a ongoing thing.
Okay.
And clearly, it was 2 years ago, so,
Yeah.
I don't remember the full details of it.
Okay.
But, I don't,
I thought we bought it.
Yeah.
But can we just check, Chris, to just see that we did? In which case, if we bought it, we would have probably
Chris,
bought
I
the
can connect
taxes.
with you tomorrow.
Absolutely. So this has been on the list. So I met with Ann and Stacy. We meeting weekly. This is one of the things that's been on Ann's list. I'm like, well, let's start whacking off the list. So, but we'll double check. The Washington SWAT. I don't think if there's no questions on that for sure. It'd be great if you could vote that tonight. That would be great.
So I have found in Beth's profile all the orphan parcel information.
Okay.
Okay. So it probably makes sense so as to not necessarily bring Ann back if we voted conditional on the treasurer and management ensuring that the taxes are in fact due and appropriately weren't otherwise discharged of. People are comfortable with that. Otherwise, the money will not come out of the Select Board Housing Fund. Okay.
Sure.
But I think we do need to vote these as individual numbers, right?
I broke it down for the motion.
Was in the motion altogether? Or was it
Yeah.
each separated?
And save Ann
For each address.
for each
is
address.
the, like
Fair enough.
120.
Yeah, I have the-
Has the amount,
Okay, yeah.
so she could keep that.
move that the select board appropriate $42,052.48 from the select board housing fund to pay the outstanding taxes of $13,260.64 at 278 to 292 Washington Street, $6,153.01 at 12 Swanton Street, and $9,925.26 at 16 to 20 Swanton Street, and conditional on further information provided to the board, $12,713.57 at Waterfield Road.
Any additional discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Ann.
And just one question, just want to be clear. The ban for Washington Swanton is the $4,050,000 at the 4.75 coupon?
Wait a second, what, I'm sorry, you're going,
Is that the one that, there's two bands in it?
oh, the 4 million, yes,
The
I'm
4
sorry,
million,
I misheard you, yes.
Okay.
So I'm just going to say to the board again,
I'll talk to you more.
Yes.
from Christmas to June, that 6-month, the delay that we've now approved, due to the zoning board of appeals, is a $100,000 hit to the town. Just going to say that. So I think we need the zoning board of appeals to come in and talk to us. Or at least its chair.
Article 11.
Okay. All right. Next
Because
up.
they put that on the town with no explanation. All right, can move on.
Correct. Okay, water and sewer. Come on up, Matt.
Now the easy part.
Well, warrant articles, we get a few more. Yes. Leanne, Bob, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us. Cleared out the space for it.
Yes. Matt, hopefully you have control. Do we need to give Matt a mouse, Patty, or you can just page down? You good?
Should be good.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. Okay, so thank you for your information, Matt. I know you were here in November? Was it November, December?
December 1st.
December 1st. See, so close to November. Very good. And now you're back for us to make a recommendation this evening and kind of settle on a rate. You've given us a few options, but I will let you take it away.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Matt Abrahams from the Abrahams Group, here to talk about an update on water and sewer and ultimately discuss rates for FY27. When we were before you in December, one of the questions was, so what could change between now and the springtime in our analysis? And I think I said at the time, well, we don't know what the end of the preliminary assessments are going to be, and also anything maybe from the capital plan could change. But I'm happy to say that there have not been any significant changes in our analysis since we were here in December, so some of the themes tonight should be very familiar to you. So we have about 9 slides for you this evening, and we'll run through them now, but feel free to stop me with any questions or comments along the way. So we'll start with an update on FY26, which is the current fiscal year. Going into FY26, this select board supported a rate plan, so going back about a year from right now, supported a rate plan with a water and sewer rate increase of 8% for FY26. And as you know from the work that we do, we present multiple years when we look at rate plans. So looking 5 years in the future, each year we're showing an 8% increase. That's an annual 8%. If we go back a year ago, 8% per year over 5 years. And ultimately what we're trying to do is we're trying to hit the retained earnings balance goal of this town, and that's an 8% to 10% range that has been a long-standing policy of this town. Town meeting approved the 8% increase last spring. And as we've already discussed, we were before you in December. There was a slight change in that plan. The increases that we were showing was down from 8%. We were showing a 7.3% increase at that point annually. Now, FY26 financially, what are we seeing? Well, we're seeing that billings and revenues are projected to be over $8.5 million. And looking back at the recent past, that is by far the highest number that we've seen in any of the analyses that we've done. And the main reason why, other than just that rates have increased over time, is that if we think back to last summer, it was a very, very dry season. Even drier than the year before, which was a dry season. The year before, FY25, billings and revenue was around $7.5 million. So that's $1 million increase in just 1 year. And the year before that, it was 6.1. Now FY24 was a down year. It was a wet year. So it went from 6.1 to 7.5, and now we're looking at potentially 8.5 this year. So that's a big jump. If we include the retained earnings that was a funding source for FY26, you're looking at $1 million surplus. But that's including retained earnings that were appropriated. If we take out retained earnings, you're at a $235,000 surplus. So if you just take a really quick step back, $235,000 in your strongest revenue year means that revenues generally are not really keeping up with expenses, because if you had an average year or a down year, you'd be looking at a deficit this year. Here's a chart on what makes up the water sewer budget. Flying through this really quickly. Indirects, 1.9 million, 12%. Operating expenses, that does not include MWA operating, just everything else operating, 2.9 million, 19%. MWA O&M assessments, 3.8 million, 25%. The capital assessments from the MWRA, 4.6 million, 30%. And local debt service, just over $2 million at 14%. All right, so looking forward, we're talking about rates for FY27, but as you know, we do like to present multiple years when we look at that. So what are we looking at for FY27? Well, the preliminary assessments from the MWA are now in, and they were in line with what we thought they would be. The water assessment is up, and it's up by a decent amount, and we knew that would happen because the water usage was up, as we discovered. So the total assessment was up over $200,000, 8.8% compared to last year. O&M, $113,000, 10.3%. On the sewer side, we're not looking at as large of increases. $57,000 for the total assessment, that's 1%. O&M was up $38,000, that's 1.5%. And as has been a theme with our presentations the last few years, you may recall that the sewer assessments were going up higher than we thought they would be because of meter changeouts. Well, we have come off of that 3-year bump. So we are past that now, and they have stabilized. I threw a little thing up here on the chart that the O&M assessment for sewer went up an average of over 20% those 3 years. Yeah. And now, as you can see there, it was 1.5% this year. Okay, so that's the MWA assessments, obviously a big part of the budget. For capital, what we're looking at, we always look at outlay, which is funded by retained earnings, and what the debt piece is. So for outlay, over the next few years, we're looking at a total investment as part of the plan. It's just plan at this point, but $1.3 million, that's $216,000 per year. The total borrowing, the total projects that we anticipate to be borrowing, meaning if you look at the capital plan, what do we think will be borrowed? That's over $32 million, 10 years for water, sewer, and stormwater, all plans together. If you look at it from a debt standpoint, for the next few years, that's additional debt of $6.8 million that is not on the books today. Now, this is if our assumptions materialize related to these capital plans, but that's what we have in our analysis right now, an additional $6.8 million in debt. As the board knows, the Chapter 110 tax levy covers a large portion of that debt. 13.55% is on rates. If it's capital outlay, then that's 100% on the rates. All right, so projections-wise, we use conservative estimates for user charges based on 2 conservative years in the recent past. Main reason why being that you don't want to assume it's going to be a really dry year, and then if that doesn't happen, then your revenue estimates would come short. With no rate action, we're looking at deficits the next few years, even in FY27. We think it's going to be somewhere in the $800,000 range. That's, again, with no rate action, all the way out to 31 of almost $3 million 5 years from now. The current retained earnings balance could cover the 27 deficit, but nothing beyond that. So we are recommending strong rate action to ensure that revenues keep up with expenses and retained earnings remain healthy. 2 quick slides on capital, just so you can understand some of the things that are in the analysis. These are from the latest capital plan. I'd say that the retained earnings funding, even though it's $1.3 million, there's not a lot here. We have 2 vehicles, which total $195,000, but the MS4 is an annual thing that's taken out of retained earnings. It's $150,000 for FY27, and we have it as $200,000 for the subsequent years based on a town recommendation. So if you total all that up, that's how you get to the 1.3.
And we're not borrowing to pay those 2 vehicles, right? We're buying them outright or leasing or whatever.
It comes out of retained earnings. Yeah.
But not on any debt.
No.
Yes, we are assuming that retained earnings will cover this. Now, of course, that hasn't been voted yet, but that's our assumption in the analysis. And here's what's in the capital plan that we think would be borrowed, some of the larger items. The water meter replacement program, we're still carrying that at $4.5 million on the assumption that the borrowing would take place sometime over the next year, if that were to happen. Then I'll just kind of cover the highlights here. There's a storage tank construction, $1.4 million. Water main replacement in FY31 for $3 million. Risley Road, $1.5 million. If we add up all the sewer I&I work, a plan that's provided by Weston and Sampson, you're looking at $7.7 million over about a 9-year period. And there are things that are currently part of the ban. The treasurer just mentioned one when she was in front of you a moment ago. And these have been rolled over, some of these have been rolled over a second, maybe even a third year. But we do anticipate that these would be long-term borrowed at some point, and we do include that in our analysis. And then other projects totaling $1.1 million in 29 and $700,000 in FY30. So I'll just pause. You can review these real quick if you want to comment or question on them.
I have a question for Bob on water meters. I know we were replacing 100-ish, couple hundred, right? We had a grant. How's that gone in terms of readings, in terms of accuracy?
Sure. So this week, we were able to put the collector in. It's up on top of our tank. We had to go with the solar power. We couldn't get power to the tank. So it took a little while for the solar to come in. It came from overseas. So that finally came in, and it just went live this week. So we have approximately 65 meters in right now, up to 300. So we're installing them every day now, up to 300. So we'll be able to get an update for you how that goes. But we are reading. It's working, like it's supposed to be right now. So it's good.
No problems.
Okay. It'll be interesting to see how, if you have the data on those properties, right? Like, I'm sure you do, right? Like, when you get 75, 150, whatever it is, like, how did the accuracy change relative to usage, relative to billings? Because if we're going to invest $4.5 million in water meter replacement, which we could say it's going to measure accurately, maybe higher bills, but at least it's fair, higher bills for everybody, aging at about the same pace.
Yeah, we'll
nice
get a
to see the
quarter
data,
in.
what the impact is.
Yeah, the next quarter.
Come back in
Yeah.
with an update on the pilot program for you.
Great.
I would think it's going to be a little bit more than a year before we go forward with that.
But it's on the roadmap. It's probably a necessary thing.
Right.
And whether we do it in 27 or 28, but if we do it at once, everyone will have the same baseline.
Right.
That was my question on this slide. Others questions on the slide before Matt goes on? Okay.
And then rate options for your consideration this evening. We have 3 of them. We like to present a level plan, and that's what you see here. Level plan over the next 5 years would be based on all the assumptions, all the projections we have. 7% annually, increase the water and sewer rates. The impact on a quarterly bill for the average residential user is $16-ish per bill with a 7% increase. And we include this graph so you can see those are the retained earnings projections. The orange is the target, the 8% to the 10%. The blue is what the projections are. So retained earnings are currently very healthy, but even with the 7% per year, based on all the assumptions we have in here, we think that retained earnings would stabilize around that target by the end of the 5-year look. And then if you wanted to consider a higher rate increase for this upcoming fiscal year, that means you could go a little bit lower. So we have 8% for year 1, 6.5% in the subsequent years, which works out to be about $20.50 quarterly for the average residential user. And option 3, if you wanted to go a little bit lower, that would mean the opposite, a little bit higher in the subsequent years. For the average residential user, that's about $14 per quarterly bill. And Madam Chair, those are all the slides we have for you this evening, so happy to take questions or comments at this time.
Thanks, Pat.
Sure.
Who wants to start? You're easy
Always.
to start there. Doesn't jump in.
One of my favorite nights of the year. What would we need to do? And this is like a very big picture question, so it doesn't require a precise answer around rate. But what would we need to do such that we're not having such large year-to-year increases in terms of, like, we have a lot of capital projects. Is it that we would need to find some alternative funding sources for a capital project? Is it, are there things we could do on the bill? and I ask this because we have an override ballot question on Saturday, and if that passes, people are going to see their tax rates go up. And then if we come to town meeting and say, and also, it's another $65 to $100 on your water bill a year, it does add up. It just keeps adding up. So it's more maybe a long-term question, but how do we?
That's not
Can I
really
make a friendly amendment to your question?
I guess so. It's a question.
What is it?
It wasn't a motion. It was just a question.
Friendly amendment to your question, if you'll accept it, Anthea. So you talk in here about if there's no rate action versus what would happen. What if I think this is maybe a little bit of Anthea what you're getting at. What if we took a 1-year holiday for FY27?
Meaning you guys change it up?
Correct. Because it says in here we're okay for FY27, and then we have a problem.
You don't want retained earnings.
You would, yeah, you have enough retained earnings to cover what I have as the projected deficit.
Yep.
So that's what I meant by that. But that would presumably mean that you'd be looking at increases larger than what you see in front of you for the future years.
a higher rate next year.
I could run that for you if you want to know what the.
I think our strategy has been to kind of level things out as much as possible as well, right? So we're not, kind of caught if we have, 1 year that's wetter than another or whatever.
I mean, when I presented this last year, it is raining right now. It was raining when I presented this last year, and then it rained every Saturday until the summertime.
You're right.
So,
Yeah.
what would we think? We thought it was just going to be a very wet summer, and then
it was
turned around.
heat waves everywhere.
So what hits that more for you? Taking out of retained earnings or the bonding?
What impacts the analysis?
Right.
more? I would say taking out of retained earnings.
Yeah, so-
Because the bonding only hits rates at 13.5%.
Exactly. Yeah.
But when you fund things out of retained earnings, it's really 100% on rates.
So remember, we're funding the stormwater without any income coming in for it. So that's hitting us hard every time. It's because all the stormwater comes out of our retained earnings, directly out of retained earnings. So we're always behind the 8 ball right off the bat with that.
As opposed to through Chapter 110.
Well, as opposed
Or
to most
borrowing.
communities will fund their drainage through their highway department,
Stabilization.
through their operating budget. So through the tax rate.
Or the stormwater enterprise fund as
So
well.
we're basically funding the stormwater, our drainage, cleaning catch basin, everything through our retained earnings.
That's a good clarification, Bo. Thank you.
So to answer the amended question, I just did some number crunching. If you were to do nothing this year, my model is showing 10.5% annually for the subsequent years.
And what's the and you're solving for about $1.5 million of retained earnings.
Yes, I'm trying to hit the target between 8% and 10% of the expenditures in that year, total expenditures in that year, which works out to be somewhere around 1.7 million dollars, something like that. You can see it here.
So I guess the thing is the question is would we feel comfortable running at a lower level of retained earnings, right? Because otherwise, by taking a 1-year holiday, you're just pushing larger increases to the following year. So,
right.
How did we? I guess that's the key question. How did we come up with the 8 to 10% retained earnings as a percent of the budget?
That's standard based on your recommendation, I thought, right?
Yeah, I think so, but I actually think there may have been a vote taken by this board many years ago. I don't know that for sure, but it's ringing a bell.
It was probably after the year that we had like $200 left to maintain.
Yeah, I mean, so it doesn't make any sense to just not do a year and then you have bigger increases the next year. The question is whether the board wants to review that reserve, sort of as it's effectively a reserve policy.
Correct.
We wouldn't be able to fund a lot of things. We wouldn't be able to get vehicles, if we didn't have enough money in retained earnings each year. There's a lot
I
that
think
comes out.
To Bob's point, I mean, I think Paris, it's a fair question, do we go 7 to 9 versus 8 to 10? But to Bob's point, the very first thing is our MS4 and stormwater. So maybe it's a vehicle here,
Yeah.
maybe it's $100,000, $150,000 there, but we're out of the gate, we don't have a different funding source unless we throw in DPW for that ongoing MS4, and that's, we still get years of.
And that's
compliance.
$200,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to drop it down with taking that haircut every year, maybe we could move it down in some increments, but we'd be pretty dangerous with that kind of.
We just risk getting caught one year, right? You know, that's the
You risk
problem.
having a very wet, rainy
Yeah.
year. We had 3 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We've
FY
had.
'22 was very wet, FY '24 was very wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And last year, we used almost $400,000 to
Balance the budget.
balance the budget. So,
In which years, I'm sorry?
The 2 years you mentioned, 22, for example.
22 and 24 were super wet.
But what are the, so
2 good years and a bad year.
assuming then that the retained earnings came down a lot, right?
Yeah, and Leanne just said we spent $400,000 balancing the budget in '24 out of retained earnings.
Or 25.
And the previous year, I think we had used ARPA funds as well, right?
We did do it in
Used to
3
supplement
Yeah,
with
there was
ARPA
a
funds
one-year bump
before
for
we
that.
closed it out, yeah. So,
And unfortunately, during all of this, we did 2 dam projects, so we
Yeah.
drained our
Right.
reservoirs down, had to buy more
Yeah.
water for end area, so these
see
numbers
this?
are all over the place.
Look at what I highlighted. Those are your catering balances going left to right.
Yeah, we drained it down to 400,000 one year.
Yeah.
so
Chris, you want to
How much less expensive is it for us to produce water than to buy from MWRA? I'm just kind of curious.
We did that analogy years ago. It is much less for
Much less
us.
for us to do it than to purchase from underage.
Especially now, right? Because they hit us with some additional
Yeah.
charges. And
Well, we had the dams down, so we had to purchase more from the MWRA, which made our assessments go up.
Right. So the O&M goes up,
Yeah.
percentage goes up, yeah.
So to go back to, I think, Paras, your question, your friendly amendment was very specific and short term. And I think my question is not, I mean, we kind of we're going to vote this at our public hearing at our next meeting, right? But so what if we were to say, you know, okay, we are going up 6% for FY27. This is what the plan looks like for the out years. However, in the spirit of what we've done in looking at our revenues and costs for state of the town, is we want to consider, you know, how to sort of smooth this a little bit. Are there things that DPW can do or things that we can do here that in, you know, FY 28, 29, we're not, you know, we are 6% in FY 27, but actually then we can manage at 6% in 28, outside of, you know, evaporating all the rainwater.
Well,
right, I think.
a lot depends. There's a lot of things that are unknown, especially the weather.
Right.
You know, we had a great year this year, so it boosted our retained earnings. We don't know what this summer is going to be. If it's great, we may not need to raise it as much next year. If it's not, then we may need to do more. We just had the 3-year contracts for the unions approved this year, so those are hitting as well. I don't know how to answer the question in terms of what we to stop doing besides, you know, capital projects. Those are
Budget's level
Yeah.
funded, just the
It
cost
is.
of products have gone up. That's really
Yeah.
all that we've done, so
Yeah.
then any extra, but we can go back and look at our capital, especially stuff coming out of retained earnings, so we can push some stuff off. I'm sure we can do that.
it's not really an easy answer.
Are there, like for the stormwater, I think maybe at one point we had some funding. Are there things that also like can get outside, one, can get outside funding, but two, you mentioned, you know, other towns are doing their stormwater management through DPW.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily, I mean, it's $200,000 here or it's $200,000
Right.
there.
It would be an annual increase to the budget each year.
Right.
So once you fund it, say this year,
You have to
then
find you have to find the revenue on that side and
there really is none.
in the town's budget.
Yeah. There is no revenue on that end. Unless we try to go for a stormwater fee again.
So do people, we have, options 1, 2, and 3. We have 1 is flat at 7, 2 is higher than lower, and 3 is slightly lower and then scaling off slightly higher, both of which potentially in option 3, which is on the screen, we dipped just below 8, maybe we're 7.5, maybe we go back up to 8%. So we're still in the low end of our retained earnings range, but does the board, we can have Matt show those options again, but how are people feeling in terms of what those options are? Because we're going to settle on something tonight and then have a public hearing about it March 30th, and we will present it at Springtown meeting, because we always do. So how are folks feeling?
Can you flip back through the 3 options right now?
Try.
Last year we did 8, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 8% last year. So sorry.
Yep.
Option 1 is a level option, 7% per year. And this board knows the rates would just be for FY27. We'd just like to show you what we think the other years look like if you were to vote that. Option 2 is a little bit higher, so we have 8%, and then the subsequent years are a little bit lower. And option 3 is a little bit lower. In year 1, 6%. That means the subsequent years would be a little bit higher. They all get you to the same place. Yeah.
Can we have 3 tiers on pricing? Can we add a,
Commercial has 2 tiers.
Commercial
we-
is too.
smush them some level and add a 4th?
That's a big study that would need to be done. That's not something we could just implement within next year. Maybe a
Gonna go to
year.
my long, well, that sounds like maybe it's not an easy question to ask, but if we said like we have 15 and then 30 and then
If you want to add a 4th,
45.
right now 45 plus is the 3rd tier, and that's when people who have irrigation accounts, if it's a dry summer like last year, a hot summer, that's when they get up into the 3rd tier and they have a leak in the system and it's a very high bill and it gets into a lot of, asking for
Abatements.
And if you had a 4th tier that was even higher, yes, it would generate revenue, but I don't know if that would make the residents happier than what we're doing now. But it's something to think about. We've been asked the question before.
And it is an analysis that can be done. We just
Yeah.
don't have that for you this evening.
So I kind of asked this too, as like, it would be interesting to pair this question with our people that there's 9 of, that there's 10 of, not Concom, but the other ones. Climate Action Advisory Committee, sorry.
There's 9 of them.
We just saw them today.
I think it would actually be interesting to pair that with climate action, because on the one hand, it's like, can we sort of increase the revenues here if people are using intentionally using a lot of water? On the other hand, it's also incentive for people to not use something that's a finite resource and sort of protective of our.
That would pass with some residents, but a lot of residents in town want their lawns green, and it doesn't really matter. I don't know what that percentage is, but
What's the proposal you're making, though? Which is to add a 4th tier slab?
Well, I'm just wondering if it's not a between in the next 2 weeks, but if that's kind of maybe something that could be considered as.
and it's not necessarily adding a 4th tier. It could be, do we change the structure of
Let's
each
change the
tier?
structure, yeah.
Do we make it 0 to 25 the 1st tier and 25 to 40 for the 2nd? Something like that. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
I would generally, I think it's a very worthwhile analysis. It sounds like you're saying it cannot be done, though, in time for Springtown meeting. Is that?
God, no.
Okay. So I guess the question then we have to choose is what option we want to go with. I generally would agree with option 1 followed by option 3 in that order.
Option 1 is the 7%, 7 flat.
Option 2 is the slight front load. Option 3 is the slight back load. It's very modest differentials. I don't think there's any world in which in an override year you can do option 2. So I would say 1 followed by 3.
Bill?
Yeah. I always prefer the plans that just kind of keep things level. So that's option 1 here. And I agree that we should try to give people some breaks, given that this is happening simultaneous with an override. So I'm very comfortable with option 1.
Mike?
Yeah, 1 works.
Okay. Anthea?
I think that makes sense, and we'll see if we get feedback at our water rates hearing. People like to complain that they don't know about it, and we do one every year. So if you're watching now, come back in 2 weeks. We'll talk about water rates one more time, and you can.
It's 1% less than we thought we were at last year.
There we go. It's gone down.
Yeah, we did.
It's actually what 12.5%.
There was a larger one.
Yeah, so you had some 8.5s in there. We had 8s. I mean, it's actually slightly better.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And that's something. Okay. Any other questions for Matt or Bob or Leanne? If we can take a motion on our options, but before they leave, want to make sure we ask what we need.
But we have to do hearing, right? So we have to make the motion at our next meeting.
Yep. I think we have a general sense of where we are.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Matt. Particularly.
Have a good evening.
I'll look forward to that new meter data when you have it.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. For those of us who like water, it's a
Watch
nice,
them spin.
nice piece of equipment. So.
We've been hearing about it for so long.
Yeah, it's taken us a while to get up and running, because we had to go with solar. But
If I call tomorrow and happens that my water meter has been broken,
Can I get a new one?
a new one, we can, anybody, we're just trying to, get people who want us to change them out. So anyone listening wants us to change out their meter, we can put in a new meter.
Okay.
Call the office.
Call the office. Thank you. Have a good night.
Take care.
Okay. Next up, Mystic Tenant Lease.
I'm going to recuse from this for the same reasons before.
Right. You had said that?
Do you guys want me to leave the table?
I mean, it's up to you. Does anybody feel like we want Bill? I mean, you can certainly go straight to your
I'm going to go
lease
get
if
some
you wish,
water,
but-
so you guys have your
Yeah,
conversation.
but we're not-
I'll use the bathroom and...
Yeah.
So in your packet, there's some information I pulled together, and I want to thank Nick for doing a lot of legwork on this. And there's 2 pieces of it. One is expenses that we already track, and as it turns out, there is already an energy assessment for the building, and its corners allocated a third of it, because that's they roughly have about a third of the building. But that's actually those costs. While the rec costs are assessed to their budget, the kids' corner space are eaten by the DPW because it has to be paid. So it's not assessed to them at all, and that's
It has never been.
to the best of my knowledge, no. And it's a little less than $14,000, and that's a budget too. And I'm sure the actual expenses of this year are higher because of the cold winter. Same thing with maintenance expenses. There are budgeted, and those are not assessed out. But I just took the same third. Figure that's fair. For energy. If you did that based on the expenses that we have for sure, it's about another $13,000, a little more than $13,000. Now there are issues, as I noted here, for cleaning. The Kids Corner does do its own cleaning. They do take advantage of some of the cleaning because of the shared spaces. I did try to figure out a percentage of that. It was going to get a little bit too deep on space, but that can be done. If you just take those 2 numbers, you're up around $27,000. The whole lease is only $37,000 right now. So. Those are just 2 areas. And then the comparison is this Kids Borough program, which is done by the schools. They use an entirely different model. They use a percentage of the revenue. And as it turns out, and they're generating somewhere north of $300,000, I believe, for the schools. But they're in the process of putting another RFP out for that. And again, this is not necessarily a perfect apples to apples, but you can find the 990, which I think was sent along.
Yep.
If you use just their, and again, this is the same formula schools use, as far as I can tell, you're talking about a fee of almost $250,000, which is radically different than what you're doing now. And I'm not suggesting you do that. It was a point of comparison.
Sorry, who is that?
That's schools
Kidsborough?
use a
Kidsborough.
percentage of the gross. That's Kidsborough. So they get the schools method. Actually, that's what rec does too. They get a piece of the action basically, rather than a rental fee. So they share with the growing program. That's what. And obviously, the program provider factors that into their fees, right? Now, I did reach out to Andrew, and he did just return my call today, but I didn't have a chance to talk to him today before the meeting. But I will.
And the current payment is scheduled to be what again?
About $37,000.
Were you saying that the rec gets a percentage of the Kids Corner revenues?
No.
Oh.
The rec gets so the energy costs assigned to the building.
Yeah.
Are apportioned 2/3 or 1/3. So,
Yeah.
But the Kids Corner is actually paid by the DPW. It's not,
Yeah.
They do it for administrative purposes. Rec actually gets charged that 2/3, among other things.
Because they're an enterprise fund.
Correct.
So they get cost allocations.
And those are the and so the cost allocation are for 100% of the building, and there's other fees, right? Pest control and all. So they're getting those allocations. And if you take the third of that, you end up, I said, it's another roughly $13,000. And those are all, fees. Those aren't made up numbers. Those are actually things that are being charged.
So that would be the management recommendation to increase.
No, I'm just laying that for you for
Okay.
consideration. I mean, I would recommend energy at the very least. I mean, I think it's a very, that's a fair number, and I
That's
think
$13,699, $13,007.
I mean, because to 27,000 would be it's a pretty radical change. Now, I think again, if their budget's $1.5 million, it shouldn't be a radical thing.
Well, to go from paying a rent and then potentially a rent plus energy based on usage versus a rent based on revenue is just completely flipping the lease, which
so
we haven't discussed.
Yes, no, I wouldn't do it. I would only do it. What I'm saying is that the energy costs for sure. I think
Yes.
The other building maintenance and all. I mean, it's all fair, but it's a different leap. And again, you have the base numbers here.
And how did the energy, so that's the split for FY26. Can you look, I mean, if we were to say, okay, well, go back and negotiate, we're going to increase it by X for energy. Can you just maybe check that that's comparable? If 13.7 one year, it's 12.6, one year it's 14.5, if we land on a number, because we're doing a 1-year lease, I'd like it to be a reasonable average of what they paid, what we paid for energy, maybe in FY25, and what we paid for FY24. So whatever we didn't charge the rec as the enterprise.
I would do a 3-year average and take a
Do
piece
a
of
3-year
that.
average.
Okay, I have to do that.
I mean, it's going to be a 1-year lease, but if it was the high end, I'd hate to stick it on the high end. But if it's a reasonable range, 13.7 is a nice round number. If 13.5 is the different round number, I'd like that.
Yeah, they need to be able to plan as well, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right. And then going forward, I think the conversation should be had. Well, these are some of the things we might want to be talking about in the future. You should really be prepared for that. I mean, I think there's clearly a cost with the maintenance of the building, and also might be able to be assessed. I'm not suggesting you do that. I'm just laying that out there as some information purposes.
I'm not suggesting that we need to stop just at energy, but energy is an easy one to carve out. But maintenance, it's not as if pest control and bathroom cleanings and things aren't costs. So,
and there's it's an older building. There's a fair amount of work that goes on every day. And again, as you see, there's already an apportioned cost that goes out to them in advance. I mean, that's it's budgeted in the beginning of the year. That's their piece of facilities, right? For the maintenance. There's the biggest piece is the amount that the facilities charges them for their services. And again, I didn't dig deep with Nick as to what that $31,000 includes, but it's a bunch of different things I assume the facilities team does for them. I'm probably using the wrong lingo. It is facilities, right? That's what we call it here.
okay.
So I'll go back. I'll get you numbers on the 3-year average.
And you've had one conversation with their director, or you're still trying to have a
I reached out to him, and he just called me back today. but I haven't had a chance to call him back today, so I'll call him.
But the notice to change the terms of the lease would be 60 days, right? So we'd have to be making some decisions during the month of April to give sufficient notice. And if they're noticed to quit, it's the same time frame.
I thought ours was longer than that, though.
Is it 90? I thought it was 60.
I'm not, again, I have to go back and relook at the lease, but the extensions, I think, kind of change the...
Point being, I think we should settle on something on the 30th of March to signal for Kids Corner for April so that they can plan. And if there's memos to parents that need to go out, they have a whole quarter to get ahead of that. I wouldn't want to make a decision tonight.
I mean, people have registered with expected costs for the upcoming year already.
Yep.
And are locked in. So I think I'm just trying to find it from our last meeting because I think it was 4 months for us to give them for the rent.
Well, they haven't actually formally asked to renew. I mean, so...
Correct. I think we need that answer by March 30th as well.
I mean, I'm assuming they want to, but I haven't gotten anything in writing or by...
So we'll pick this up on March 30th
Yeah,
with a
I mean, I think their intent to
recommendation.
renew, our intent to change the lease, our intent to renew the lease with different terms. I don't think it should go much, it shouldn't go any further.
No.
Okay. And if you have additional sort of the energy spend, kind of, smooth that over 2 years, similarly with maintenance, smooth out over 2 years. I think the Kidsborough portion of revenue is, while attractive maybe from a revenue perspective, is a bit of a dramatic change for how they've been doing business.
You just wanted to see the comp, so
We did.
I'm not recommending you go that way at all. I'm just saying it's...
What's the interaction Kids Corner has with Kids Connection? Which is our program.
I'm sure there's kids that are in both, but it's a separate, it's a literally separate entity.
The one's a nonprofit that has running it for 40 years, and one is a town program. I believe Kids Connection has less enrollment, right, than they want. It'd be helpful just to think about it like globally. Like, are they experiencing enrollment challenges? I believe Kids Connection is. It would just be helpful to understand, like, what do we want to have in that building ultimately? Is the two programs one?
Yep.
Because it is a funny situation where I think we're running a competing program at the same time in the same building. I don't know if you know the answer to this, but
And I think that's true, Paris, but I think everything else that Rec's paying in their enterprise is not just for the after school that competes, it's preschool and all the other things too. So the energies of using that building every day. There's pre-K kids in there during the school day. There's potentially evening things, and Rec's paying their portion of energy, regardless of whether their kid numbers are down or their adult numbers are up or pickleball is happening. They're still paying their energy fee.
yeah.
Whether their census is up or down. So I think it's a fair question. I just think it's quite the same apples to apples because it's not just after school that happens in that building.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Okay. All right. So Chris, if you have a recommendation after your conversation for us, that'd be great.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Billy can come back, I think. Next up, Special Education Reserve Fund. The school committee voted on their meeting on March 5th to withdraw the remaining balance from the Special Education Reserve Fund due to unanticipated expenses in FY26 special ed tuition and transportation costs that came in after town meeting approval of the current year budget. The release of the funds, this is a memo from Karen, requires an affirmative vote of both the select board and school committee. The school committee, having taken their vote, is asking us to take our vote this evening to expend those funds. I talked with the school committee chair, also talked with the superintendent, asked them to put this in writing so that we could get the motion on for this evening.
Have we discussed replenishing this at fall town meeting or at another point?
Normally it was replenished with reversions,
Yep.
so I think that might be an interesting budget conversation this spring, but right now we're being asked to withdraw from.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
I do think this also brings it down to zero. I think that's the...
It does.
That's why I was asking.
Brings it down to
Yep.
0. Yep. Okay.
Move that we approve the withdrawal of the remaining balance of $110,334.33 from the sped reserve fund for unanticipated increase in FY26 special education tuition and transportation costs that came in after town meeting's approval of the FY26 budget in May.
Second.
Any additional discussion? It was a crazy long motion you got there.
Thank you, Patty, for writing them down.
I think the band ones were longer, but.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next up, warrant articles. So we have in our packet many warrant articles. We have select board articles to put on under our name. We have select board articles to co-sponsor. We have a decennial bylaw to consider sponsoring as a board. And Paris, I don't know what we should do with solar, but I thought I'd leave that to the end.
When do we
because
need
it's
to
clearly-
close all this out, by the way?
The warrant, yeah, the warrant, what's going on under our name needs to be tonight, and what are we sponsoring? The motions for solar, when are motions due, Patty? Or Chris?
April, it's on my calendar.
Yeah, we really should have stuff as close to possible as by the end of the month in a couple of weeks.
That's what I would think, the end of March, maybe the first week in April, but there's a hard and firm date.
So the motion book, so the motions, we really need to have ready at our next meeting.
Yes. That's where solar, I think, in terms of, price points and options, we could,
But even general stabilization, like we need to pick a number.
yes, yes. So we can discuss that tonight as well. And obviously, motions, if they adjust on the, closer to town meeting, need 7-day notice, and we need to write letters, and we need to update town meeting members. Sometimes prices come in and change. We should try to hit that.
Careful, I get. So the motions and the backgrounds are due March 27th.
Oh.
And she plans on,
And we're meeting on the 30th.
right, so, yeah, because you're,
Wait.
oh,
I sure won't.
Yeah.
If we finalize them on the 30th,
I think you'll be okay.
Yeah.
because it's not going to the printer until later.
that week.
The warrant goes first, but you don't need the motions for that.
So,
All right.
in here, so it has to go out,
The motion book has to go up by the 15th.
Yes.
14th.
so
Yes.
I think on my calendar it says here this, it goes to the printer, so.
Okay, so we have another.
We have the 30th, and if we needed to, potentially April 6th. But we should try to get everything done by the 30th. Okay. So let's start with articles. We could vote, and we're going to go with the numbers that are in our packet. So current numbering convention, 1 through 44. We want to go through and just vote to keep these on the warrant. And then we have a few that we need to add our names to. But Article 1, okay, well, we'll get it right into it. Article 4 is local occupancy tax. We will vote this one page at a time, but the planning board had a hearing last Tuesday. They did not propose, they discussed a bylaw change to potentially allow, to potentially exclude short-term rentals. Ultimately, they did not choose to take any action. They may take that up in the fall. So we can still put this motion, this article in front of the residents to adopt Chapter 64G, Section 3A, and assess a rate of 6% on lodging. Planning board will probably speak to it during their presentation, their plan to address short-term rentals. In that public hearing, they mentioned that that Belmont, who turned us on to our Airbnbs, they adopted it as a town without their own planning board updating zoning or changing bylaws. So they're flying with collecting tax without having necessarily reconciled everything, which I thought was a relevant piece of information. It was noticed as a public hearing. I was the only member of the public. There were other people there apparently for ZBA decisions and special permits, but no one else
Sushi
weighed in.
restaurant, yeah, but
I was hoping to learn something from our residents, but no one else was there.
You summarized it well. I think there was some members of the planning board want to see this regulated, but they don't have a majority or a pathway to do that anytime soon. So
Yep.
I think that their reaction to me afterward was, if you guys want to proceed, go ahead.
Yeah, it seems like we should. I mean, it's the question of regulation versus revenue, right? So we can certainly handle the revenue piece while they're going to wait a little bit on the regulation.
If ever, right? Like it's such a small
if ever, right.
I'm good with it.
Patty, for purposes of the warrant, should we just approve it in its entirety and just note changes as we go?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
usually motion to approve it with the
Subject to the
changes.
changes. That's what I thought. Okay, so
Wait, was that a motion?
it
Feel
will
free
be
to
a motion.
second it.
Okay.
Yes. We need to discuss what changes we might want.
It's a short meeting.
Yeah, that's why we're on the motion for, as a whole, right?
Yes, and then we'll have changes to discuss. So the next one that has our name on it is 7, Human Rights Commission. Is there any draft language? Normally, the bylaws would have the language in the warrant.
Yeah, so Mary Ellen is on the Human Rights Commission Working Group, and we do have draft language. We're refining a couple things in it, and so determined that we could have the warrant article to look like this, and then have the bylaw in the motion. So we're meeting on Wednesday, and then should be closer to what that any revisions from the previous draft.
Okay.
Actual writing of the article that says Article 7, we're going to make some changes and submit it to us Jen needs it.
No, this is the article.
So this is okay.
And then the motion would have the bylaw, was what we had discussed.
One, I guess you'll provide the motion. I guess Michelle, we have to put motions in the next packet, right? So just to understand, so it would be apply this one for all of these. We need to get motions together, and then we should review the motion book at April 30th. Is that
Yes.
how we're going to approach this? Because that's our next meeting. So people got to get motions together in the next 10 to 12 days. So the only thing I have for this one, Anthea, is the chair of the Council on Aging just asked me, are they still going to get an appointee? And sort of suggested it would be nice if they did. So you may want to cover off with them to the extent that's not in there. So.
Patty, relative to when motions are due, because I know there was I was involved on Friday with various warrant article deadlines coming and going. Is the clerk, maybe it's a Patty, Chris question, is Mary Ellen or Jen, anybody in the manager's office, socializing to all of these proponents when the motions are due? Because if they have to be in our packet for the 30th.
Yes.
And they have to meet a deadline of the 27th. Yes. Okay.
So everything that outside of this room is due the 27th,
Okay.
and it will be in your packet.
So the 30th, just so we can agree on the order of operations here. So we're going to go through the articles tonight. We'll do our motions at the next meeting, and then the meeting on April 13th, we'll start our long march through the warrant.
April 6th.
No, the
gonna do that.
actual, everyone's motions, I need to be approved by the board, is it?
Agreed. So when are we going to
Taking positions starting the 6th.
Yes.
That's what I was asking.
There you go.
And that has nothing to do with printing, well, I mean, I will give
So
you.
6th, 25th, et cetera. Okay.
6th, 13th, 27th is what we have for posted meetings in
Okay.
April. Well, 27th is the start of town meeting.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Brings us to Article 9, citizen petitions, Article 8, Article 9, Mr. McGonigal.
Yeah, this is.
Go ahead, sir.
Oh, so this is what I think we first started talking about after last spring, just trying to make the decennial review process a little bit easier on everybody. If you all remember, I gave you a memo with a suggestion back in September, October. The only thing that's changed since then is having gotten advice from council. I made a few small edits. You can see those in the red line that was in your packet. But council's biggest piece of advice was that trying to do it every town meeting would be a little overly burdensome and too short of a time frame. So instead, move to a 1-year sort of schedule, and that's what's reflected in the packet here. And since we'd be doing it every year instead of every town meeting, reviewing 4 chapters at a time. And the big idea here being that we don't have to go through 25 or 30 chapters all at once every 10 years, and everybody is on the same page as to what's happening and when. So more time was given for review and input. And it's currently just under my name, but I would greatly prefer this to be something that the whole board.
I'm happy to put. I'm happy to vote to put the select board's name on it.
Second, if that was a motion.
I think it was. Okay, so we have a second. We have a motion to put it on select board's name. We have a second. Any additional discussion? I do have comments, but I will go last.
Just a clarification. I thought, shall identify 4 chapters. What if we were to continue to add chapters? Would this change eventually?
We could, review this chapter and then change it.
Perfect.
1/10 of the total chapters. Or
Answer my question.
whatever is larger. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, I look at the bylaws as being a living document, and so it's more about making this more manageable than anything else. And there's no pride of authorship here, so if anybody does have something that they think would make this a smoother process, please suggest it.
I think 4 chapters, it gets you there at whatever pace it gets you there. It might take longer, right? If we just grow by 2 or 3, like we had a Human Rights Commission, we probably wouldn't do that in year 1. If we grow by 2 or 3 chapters, it might take another year to get through. But if you're trying to knock out 4 a year, and ideally for fall town meeting, I think, is when you said you bring it back? Or once a year, but was it not?
Yeah, this would be a fall town meeting. We review 4 chapters and announce the next 4.
Yeah, but this is done at. I mean, this is B1, right? This would be done at the fall town meetings.
It would be done at the fall town meeting, yes.
Can I propose under B4, would it make sense to add, so there's the current bylaw, the proposed revised bylaw with and without red line, proponent of the revision, an explanation of the purpose of the revision, town council's recommendation, analysis of any related bylaw changes?
Sure.
Because...
Yep. Agreed.
Okay, great. Just for clarification, because I think Bill's reading my mind, there were some changes last time that were proposed, but then weren't consistent across the bylaw. So we'd want to make sure if we are changing something in Chapter 1, that it's reflected as a change in, like, if it shows up in Chapter 14, it needs to be the same. And that would be my only other comment.
I can give that language to somebody. I guess Patty.
So it would be G, you're calling analysis of any bylaw changes?
Yeah.
Sound good?
I'll give you,
Yeah.
let me email you something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I understand the intent.
Proposed friendly amendment to the motion to, I don't know what I'm doing.
Are you amending your own?
I don't know if I'm amending anything that needs to be amended,
But
so
I
I'm
think
just
the thing
making a
is,
suggestion.
Like you're open to edits, right? And I think that I'm good with it conceptually. If you and Michelle have comments, like I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah. Just say them right now.
Mike,
Or send them.
my comment is, I think I'll abstain on making the select board. When we weighed into town meeting time, there was a split board on even getting into the town meeting's business. And I feel like bylaw review is town meeting business and probably is better coming from gov regs than the select board telling the town meeting how to do their business. So I'm trying to be consistent with where some of us were last year. And I think the reason we put town meeting time under our name was we had gov regs was in favor, rules was in favor, the study committee was in favor, everybody was in favor. This one feels like, though if it goes under our name, so be it, but this feels like something that the meeting ought to take up, or GovRegs ought to take up.
Would GovRegs take it up? It's a good point.
They have it. I don't know what they're going to do, and I don't know when they're meeting next.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from them to see what their thoughts on it are. You know, I mean, happy to give it to town meeting and let them deal with it. But
That was the next step from the last conversation we had, which is you were going to check with GovRegs.
Yep.
Did I hear you say earlier that they're good with it?
They have it, and the response I've gotten from only one member is they don't want to go through what they went through last year, and they want something more manageable.
I see Michelle's point. I'd like to sleep on it. It's a good point. If GovRegs isn't willing to, like, say, you know, we should do this, then it is a little strange for us to do it.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to do it individually, so if it's not going to be with the full board behind it, then...
Well,
I think let's see what GovRegs has to do. Yeah.
We could keep it on and say we want them to co-sponsor, or we want them...
Yeah, we would co-sponsor it with them, I think, if they're...
I think that's right. I mean, I
Because I don't want to kill it off yet, Bill.
I think that's right.
But
So how do we
It's
do
them,
that
they're going to be
in
doing the work. I mean, you know.
in the,
So it's easy for us to create something,
They have to
you know.
could we add them as a sponsor after the fact?
Can't we do anything until it's printed?
So close, absolutely. You can even put a contingent on GovRegs of giving.
Yeah, and I'd like just a vote of the committee whenever they meet. You know.
I will modify the amendment to change Article 9 to be, have the select board and the committee on GovRegs as co-sponsors, contingent on a vote of the GovRegs committee.
I'll second that. That sounds exactly right. Okay,
Should we vote it?
let's vote that one specifically, because then we're going to vote the slate, but that's Article 9, correct? Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any additional discussion on that amendment? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I'm trying to find an email here. Okay. Next up is for us, then there's an article from the Town Meeting Study Committee on town meeting time. Another, Article 11, solar, right? Nope, snow and ice citizen petition, sorry. 12 is general stabilization fund. We should talk about this for a minute. We need motions due for the meeting on the 30th. So I do have an update from my meeting with Finance Committee on the general stabilization fund. There's justification is our reserves are held in the general stabilization fund and our reserve, operating reserves, which includes free cash and some other sources of funds. Right now, the general stabilization fund is $6 million and free cash is $22 million. Moody's would like to see those two funds more in alignment, more like 11 and 11, or 15 and 15, trying to make the math be somewhat closer. And I went to Finance Committee last week to talk about solar, stabilization fund, a couple of other topics. They were supportive. Their chair followed up the next day and said they'd be happy to co-sponsor general stabilization with us. The feedback was, do you guys have a number by which you want to incrementally add it? I said no, but given that we're taking our reserve, if the override passes, we're going from 6 to 10 to 8 to 14, and we're going up 2% a year. Perhaps we want to do the same with the stabilization funds, is going up 2% over the space of 2 to 3 years. We need to sort of have some debate on that as a board, but we have to put a specific dollar amount in here and try to feed it in some way, but start creeping toward more balance with free cash. So FinCom's supportive. We just didn't give them a number because we have not discussed a number. So I'll stop with my update there, but we will need to have a number for the motion book.
So we're at, as Michelle said, 5 versus 22. And not just the rating agencies, but also the Department of Revenue recommends we have balance between the two. So if you were to balance them, we would move something like 7 or 8, let's call it $8 million in, right? So the question is, what's the pathway?
Time, yeah.
What's the pathway?
Yeah.
Right. And so our current by the way, our policy, not just the one we voted on in the spring, but the one from 2010 has the same provision in it, that we're supposed to have balance between them. If it goes in general stabilization, it's still there, it's still cash. The benefit to it is that we can invest it with a little more duration, get some more interest income, and the reason the rating agency likes it is it takes 2/3 of a vote to get it out and 2/3 of a vote to get it in and 2/3 to get it out. So it's seen as a little more protected. And it's been a long time since we've moved money out. It's been like over 12 years. So let's say we went up by 8 million, if that's where we want to get to. I would recommend we start with a large increase. The first year, I don't have offhand a clear view of what that is. You can start with 4 because we haven't done it in so long, and then we can do it more incrementally from there. 4 million, so take that to 9. And then free cash would still, so if you did that, they're supposed to be about equal, free cash would still be 2/3 of the total operating reserves. I could bring some different numbers. People want to see that?
Yep. I think I'd rather see more 2 to 3, or do 2, 2, and 2
That's what I was thinking of, 2, 2, and 2, but
over the course of our override horizons.
that's what I was thinking.
I mean, we have to get to 9, right? Or 8, so 2, 2, 2, and 2.
We have to
Or-
get to 9?
Yeah.
No, we have to get to, our total operating reserves is like 27. We have to get to like 13.
And we're at 5.
Yes.
So we have
We
to add,
haven't put money into it in so long.
we have to add about 8 million.
Correct.
So I'm thinking 2, 2, 2, or 3, 3, 3. That gets us to 9 million over 3 years.
I'd go 3, 3, 3.
Yeah, I think, Moody's likes to see that we are, making healthy decisions and protecting reserves, but also that we've got a plan and a policy that we are continuing to implement. So, I think if we indicate that those are the numbers that we're sliding over, 2 to 3, I think that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, the easiest way to think about this is it's just like your checking account versus your like CDs or
Yep.
savings account.
Yep.
Right. It's just a question of how much you want to hold in each.
Yes.
It's all still liquid. It's all still available.
Yes.
You just can't switch from your savings to your checking on your phone.
Or at the ATM. It's 2/3 vote.
You have to call. You have to call time your 192 friends.
Right. Yes.
So
multi
if we
factor
want
authentication.
I can circle back to Finance Committee if we say it's 3 or 3 to 4. Do you want me to get the gauge if they're co-sponsorship? I don't know that it would go out the window because I didn't have a number in mind. But do you want me to socialize that number before now on the 30th?
I could just make like a table, like a few tables that show like this is the current of each, and like these are the percentages. based on where
2 million over 4 years, 3 million over 3 years.
Super easy.
Yeah, I think that's probably good to maybe get there over a couple, like 3 to 4 years. Since we've done nothing in 12 years, we'll start to do something. But okay.
So tonight, will we just leave it as the select board, or do you want me to
Don't add the Finance Committee yet. I will circle back.
do numbers?
Yes, I need to give them numbers, but they were certainly supportive of the concept. And they didn't have a number in mind, let's be clear. If you guys came in and said 6 million, no way. I mean, we'd never talk numbers, so.
And I think whatever number we do, it sounds like we're aligned on a programmatic approach.
Yeah.
Whether it's 2, 3, or 3.5, like it's probably not going to be 4 if we're going to do it programmatically. So why don't we make sure we also articulate that to them, that we would intend to bring this article every year with you.
Yes,
So not just like we're going to do this with you once.
yes.
We're going to
It will be over a space of 2 or 3 springtime meetings.
We're going to come back to you in a year and ask to do this again. So
Yes. Okay. So we'll keep that on for us. Next up, Board of Health Summer Camp. Then next up is solar. Articles 14 and 15 are solar purchase and solar PPA.
So, packet at your table. So if you look at page 2, which is probably the only packet you really need to see, or the only page you really need to see, the rest of it is the pictures and then the calculations for each individual project. what you can see there is the purchase. So if you go over to the third column, well, let me just flag them. Approximate purchase price, purchase year one net savings, purchase term net savings. Those are the three columns you want to pay attention to. So let's just give an example. The high school roof, which would be $1 million, so the second row, it would save us $53,000 in the first year, and then you would take the $1,245,000 and you divide that by 20 to get the average savings over the life. So over the life, it would average to 62 because you save a little less up front as you pay down the system. Then you save a little more, and then towards the end, you're saving more. That's like a mortgage because you're paying down the debt. So I think this board had a majority in favor of going the purchase approach. And you can see the projects here. I think transfer station was the one we didn't have, so that one has come in. It's a canopy, the 1.7, and then it's actually quite large. It's the second largest project after the high school roof itself. So actually, it is actually larger. It's actually slightly larger than the high school roof. It's smaller than the high school total project. So these are the projects that we've come up with. There's a couple that are quite small in terms of DPW, and then there's several that are large. So we've indicated all of them in the article. I think our view would be, I don't think we have enough information to see which ones, when we do the engineering, won't make it. It's likely at least one won't, but the idea would be to bring all of the sites, get at least town meeting approval, and then purchase would be the strategy. The PPA, you can see that the term savings are much smaller. So only about half, the 2.3 million versus the 4.2 million.
Did schools vote on purchase as well? What was their vote?
Purchase. 5-0 for purchase.
Unanimous.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
But they didn't want to do a PPA.
Yep.
They actually said, well, I didn't actually watch the meeting. This is only a message I got afterward from one of the committee members. I believe they only endorsed the purchase.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
That is
said they don't want to do a PPA.
That was the message I got from the chair as well.
Okay.
So, Paris, maybe this is explained on a later page, but what does percent of usage mean, and why is 18% canopy and 22% middle school canopy? That's second to last.
Percent of the building whose electric system it's attached into. So the high school just consumes so much energy that even with a canopy and the roof of the gym covered, you cover half the high school. And then the DPW transfer station buildings are tiny little buildings, so it hooks into an electric system, and then the rest would just go into the grid because the electric systems are tiny.
And we could sell that back to the grid?
Yeah.
And is that part of is it calculated in the savings?
Yeah, that's how you get to the net savings numbers.
So the only ones that break even or do better is high school roof does better, high school roof and canopy almost breaks even, transfer station gets
What do you mean by breaks even?
purchase price to purchase net term savings,
But the net savings include paying the purchase price.
right?
So they all break even, right? Or better. They all make money. The term net savings includes paying off the purchase price first. So for example, if you spend $2 million on the high school roof and canopy, you get the $2 million back plus the 1.8.
Okay. And that's defined in here too, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise the whole set of projects, the $6 million, would lose money versus the
Yep.
4.8.
Yep.
So you spend $6 million and you get basically a 10. So you get 4 net.
Okay. So Finance Committee also was favorable to solar with the strong caveats that we had, that transfer station wasn't in it when I talked with them last Thursday, and some of these projects are very much dependent on engineering. So if you take the middle school canopy on the backside of McCall, we don't know if there isn't groundwater right beneath the surface, or it was formerly used as a dump, so there's some sort of hazardous materials because a lot of our fields in town are. So we know that some of these may not survive engineering due to water table and ground conditions and site conditions. But
I think it's a guarantee that some of them will not.
Right. And then the other source is funding for this, which is, we're thinking maybe grant, maybe free cash. When do we want to talk through the actual purchase vehicle for this?
I think we should talk it through now. I mean, the grant would be a piece of it if we get the climate leaders grant, but it sounds like there's a bit of a delay with that.
Yeah.
Right. That was the email we got, right, from...
On Friday?
Well, it's not that there's a delay, it's that the deadline is extended. So, because they haven't turned the money over fast enough, so they're not going to do a second round until the first round's expended. So they have millions of undesignated dollars, so instead of the deadline being in the spring, next February, it's going to be at least a year after that. So that, I think Capital wanted to think about holding it still for this building. I wonder if there's no one, I'm not saying this is I'm just thinking this through. I'm like, well, if we have a good project and we have another good project, they're not going to sit around and not give us the money.
Well, I guess I would say, I mean, we're right. Good point. And I would say, I mean, to put it on, the most typical financing mechanism for this would be a bond against our operating budget, because energy is the second largest cost item in unallocated. We have municipal schools unallocated. The two overwhelming items there are health insurance and energy. And so the municipal, for people watching, the municipal unallocated budget picks up energy for the schools too. So the easiest thing is you bond against that, and then these savings just flow right back in. Right.
Yep.
Because I mean, I can pull it up, but our energy budget's big.
Oh, yes, it's rather large.
Yeah.
What, 12, 14 million? Our Lynch solar purchase was going to be borrowing as well.
Yeah. Right.
So that's consistent. We were able to actually, it came in as
pull it down, but yeah.
Right. I mean, we were able to, the ad alternate, it came in and the project could handle it. Should have said that to the governor today, Chris, but that's fine. Kind of in the weeds a bit.
I
But
only have 55 seconds.
it all worked out. So, Paris, realistically, transfer station, we just invested $6 million on transfer station redesign, right? So where this is going to go, I mean, do some of these need more design? Do we need to hear from Matt Schuman on the 30th around, or DPW or others around concerns? We could put the whole slate in front of town meeting. We could say realistically, well, where would you position transfer station relative to the flow of mulch, this and that? How disruptive would it be to operations? Do we want to hear from some town staff on these? And then put something as a year 2, year 3 priority, not a year 1 priority.
I definitely think we should hear from staff if they have any concerns immediately. I think the thing is to me, we know some of these we just from the law of probabilities. So I think the whole pathway here with Select is to get approval, start diligencing them, getting there, because we have a contract with them. They have engineering resources to go out and to do some test drilling, to do some structural engineering work on the high school roof, and tell us which of these are actually going to make it. That would be my view. But we get approval for all of them. And we know they won't all make it.
And how do we pay Select, or they work at risk?
They work at risk.
That's what I thought, to make sure it didn't change.
Yeah.
My last meeting with them, that's what I recall. Okay. So there's not a lot of downside risk to the town, though we probably commit to some purchase and some financing of that purchase if these projects are viable.
Well, I mean, they've come out and taken a look at everything, and I think they feel confident that there's enough there.
Yes.
If we go out and get approval for all these, I think they look at the list and go, probably have the same reaction we do, which is these aren't all going to survive, but we know enough of them will to make it worth our time. And they do this with tons of towns.
Okay. So we need to get some motions ready in terms of dollars, though we do have some dollars here. We need to have some language around the financing mechanism.
Yep.
We do need to also today add our names to 14 and 15 as co-sponsors. School committee is ahead of us on this. Anything else we need to have?
Well, do we want to kill 15? That's the question.
For PPA?
Yes.
Given the school committee wanted.
It's just too
a strong
confusing. I mean, I
preference?
think we had this conversation last time too, right?
Correct.
So
Yes.
I'm good with it.
town meeting seemed to understand what the strategy was pretty quickly.
I'm good with killing 15. Andy, I think you had a bit of a question on it. I don't know if.
No, I think that's fine.
Okay, great.
So given that school committee co-sponsor, do we want to communicate that we want to remove it?
Well, they didn't.
I believe they
They
did.
did not.
Yeah, they're
They
not
did
supporting.
not support it. That's true. It's just there, just in case. Okay, so we will take it off.
Yeah, that's why it was in bold, co-sponsor, was to see if they were going to do it.
Yeah, but
I
they
think
did
they
not
co-sponsored
vote.
14.
Correct. They did not vote. They only supported.
I don't think anybody wants a PPA.
Okay. So we need to vote to co-sponsor 14, and then we'll take a separate vote to kill 15.
Move to co-sponsor Article 14 with the school committee.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Move to remove Article 15 from the warrant.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yay, one less. Okay. Article 16, Carriage House, we need to add our name to co-sponsor as well. School committee took affirmative vote on that. Capital planning did on Wednesday, school committee on Thursday. We need to add our name to 16.
Move to co-sponsor Article 16.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 17 is feasibility study. Citizen. 19 is a standard article to rescind borrowings and authorizations. This is one, Chris, that normally Stacy or you would tell us if 19 will be IP'd, if there are any borrowings to rescind that are no longer needed or take any action. So 19 will stay on the warrant, and up until maybe a few weeks before or right before the warrant's printed. Sometimes it even stays on in case there's a late walk-on. But if we don't anticipate with you, the comptroller and treasurer, that we have nothing to rescind, we would just print it, and in the consent agenda, it might say IP'd. Free cash for prior year bills. Are you aware of any?
Oh, just to go to Article 19, Jen may have already caught this, but it's justified. If we can left align that one.
So,
The text in Article 19.
town.
Or maybe it's just on mine. Because I don't.
I think they're all justified.
Oh, it looks fine. My version on my screen right now.
Oh, yeah.
My version is the same thing. It's pretty-
Yeah, okay.
That'll
Cool.
be fixed.
Cool.
You meant
It looks fine for now.
Format,
Yes, the
not
formatting.
a word.
When you, I
Yeah,
was looking for
sorry.
a word to add.
Okay, appropriate. Okay, so Chris, are you aware at this, because this came up with Finance Committee, are there any other
I'm not
free
aware of it.
cash beyond snow and ice we know is over because we had a snowy winter?
Right. I'm not aware of any, but
Prior year
this
bills.
always should stand too. And if you don't need it, you just
Yep.
postpone that too. So.
Okay, then a bunch of other supplement bills. All right, now we're up to Article 24. That's town manager, that's PEG, that's standard capital planning. 25 is the capital planning report. Okay,
It's 33.
all the way through to
33 is water and sewer.
32, actually, 32, the capital planning committee would like us to add our name to. That's the strategic maintenance account that we normally co-sponsor, and we were not tracking it on our side, which I think is our oversight. So capital planning chair reached out today, and normally we co-sponsor, because I think this strategic maintenance fund came from the select board in its very beginnings.
That's- yeah.
Yes, so we'd like to add our name to co-sponsor with, capital would like us to have our name there.
Can we?
And normally it's town manager, CPC, and select board for strategic maintenance.
Can we see if we can move that to the consent agenda?
We certainly can.
Yeah, that's a good
Ask.
idea.
Move that we co-sponsor Article 32 with Capital Planning Committee and the town manager. Can I make that motion?
Let's make
Second.
them separately. Let's do a select board first.
Move that we co-sponsor Article 32 with the Capital Planning Committee.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, Michelle, where's the full, the warrant version I have only has our articles.
So
There's
I
two
sent you
documents.
two. I sent you this where it says version,
It's
which you will have to look at is version 2.6, our warrant.
Yeah, it's a separate attachment in the packet.
I see. The Word document.
Yes. Yes. And now let's move to add the town manager. Are you okay with that? Adding your name?
You're so enthusiastic.
Move to add the town manager to co-sponsor Article 32 with the select board and the Capital Planning Committee.
Say,
All those in favor?
Move to do whatever we need to do to ask the moderator to put Article 32 on
Chair
consent
just
agenda.
says to meet with them, yeah,
Yeah.
with him.
Okay. 33 is concrete at the high school. 34 is water.
No,
and-
sorry, 33 is water and sewer.
Water and sewer.
Oh, my version has an EFPBC article.
No, that's why.
That was removed, right?
That's fine. Water and sewer, that we will have our answers on that. Finance committee,
So she might have made some changes this morning, because that's where I got yours that I printed out, was from,
Okay.
directly from her, not from what I
That's
sent to you.
okay. We'll come back to that then.
Well, I mean, earlier tonight, they did talk of the EFPBC.
Yes.
Was talking about the concrete. They may not come forward with that because they think there might be enough money, but they still have to check a couple boxes. So
Okay. Okay.
that was at 6 o'clock. So.
Water, stabilization funds, enterprise funds, personnel board, manager.
Personnel board, I got feedback on that I don't know exactly what it is, but if it's similar to the last one, would probably be another good candidate for consent, because it's a pretty deep dive on job classifications and wages and other things.
Wait, to put that as a consent agenda?
You remember it, Leslie?
Every word.
You can ask.
No. It's always at the end. When we're,
It is
we're
because
rushing
there's
through
always
things.
changes that are being made
Yeah.
until.
Okay. Article, the next article with us is roads and sort of, I guess, roads and sidewalks. I don't think we had this one tracking before. Did we?
Sorry.
Raise and appropriate for
What number are you on?
41.
41?
Oh, we didn't, 40 is town manager, 41 is,
40 is treasurer and town manager. 41 is roads and sidewalks.
So, yeah, she did add some this morning. So to vote to raise the appropriate sums is now 42.
Yep. But what is this article? Because I'm just saying I wasn't tracking it over here. And it's to maintenance, repair, alteration, townways, authorize select board to acquire by gift, eminent domain, or otherwise easements. So it's just roads and sidewalks? Standard article problem?
That's chapter 90, I believe.
Yep.
I didn't realize you had to appropriate. I've never had to appropriate that before at town meeting, so I didn't know you did that here. That's what.
Is it usually consent? And I feel like it always comes, if it is, it looks structured slightly differently.
It's
Usually
consent.
it's a lot, it's like 7 or 8 or 9.
I can
It's usually a lot earlier in the warrant.
I don't remember ever voting on it, but so
I think it's consent, but then usually it falls a lot earlier in the
yeah.
warrant.
mhm.
Okay,
I
if
can
this is
check.
chapter
I can check
90,
the spring
that's
of
fine.
25.
Yeah, I believe it's chapter 90. Yeah.
It certainly looks like chapter 90.
And it is, okay, so we'll keep our name on that. All right, and then citizen petition, another citizen petition.
What is
Okay.
this next one?
Which one?
44?
176, Doctor.
Yep, that's a citizen petition to remove infrastructure
Yeah.
from their property. That was a citizen petition that came in on Friday.
What was this? The Dothan
From-
article?
Mr.
Dothan Road?
Beal, yes.
What's the? Okay, doesn't matter. We'll learn later.
Okay.
So, 2018, there was, the DPW went in, and there was some drainage issues, and they put a
Okay.
pipe in, but didn't get an easement.
Yeah, the roads and sidewalks one, Article 41. It was Article 35 consent agenda last time.
Yeah, okay, it was consent. Makes
And
sense.
it was pretty late in the morning, too.
Okay, thank you for looking that up. All right, I will make a note of that for consent.
Can we this isn't as pressing because we're not voting our motions at the next meeting, but we'll vote our positions. Is that what I said? I meant positions if I said motions. Article 11, it would be good to get town manager, well, not more like DPW police review on that. 'Cause
The
citizens.
sidewalks?
Sidewalks, yeah. It really is like an article we could bring. So it'd just be good to get our staff to review that for us and tell us about the enforceability of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, maybe talk to the COA director if we're going to hit staff as well on that question.
Oh, this is the snow thing, right?
Snow, yeah, it's a.
I was actually asked about that by a reporter. Not this article, but about snow clearance, and I explained how the bylaw is only commercial, not residential, so.
The current.
Yeah, the current.
So we're going to vote all of our changes where we added ourselves, added our names, we did remove one. So whatever we didn't specifically discuss, we take a motion to approve the warrant as we have it.
Motion to approve the warrant
Currently constructed.
currently constructed with the and updates proposed during discussion.
Second.
Okay, any additional discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
This is fun.
Last thing is our consent agenda. I think, right? Yeah, that's our last bit of business.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as posted for Monday, March 16, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Yeah. And I've got the master roll.
Motion to adjourn. That's why I told you that. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you, WinCam. Thank you, everyone.
Ready to sign, Patty?